You don't need 500 licks to play great jazz. You only really need 5 and the creativity and ingenuity to transform those common licks into your own jazz vocabulary. In this video, we're going to learn how to do just that. We're going to take 5 common jazz licks and we're going to transform them using pro-level rhythmic and melodic secrets. What's up everyone, I'm James Melton, jazz guitarist, composer, and music educator here with Learn Jazz Standards. I'm really excited for this video because I've hidden a jazz meme Easter egg in one of these licks, and I want to see if you can figure out which one it is. Let's get right to it. Charlie Parker, John Coltrane, Miles Davis, Bill Evans. What's one thing these jazz players all had in common? They all stole licks. What set these jazz legends apart, however, was that they were able to take the licks that they stole and disguise, reshape, and reinvent them, creating their own jazz vocabulary. We'll learn some tricks of the trade as we go along today, so let's jump right into our first lick. Here's lick 1. For our first lick, we have the David Barker bebop lick. This lick is everywhere and should be instantly recognizable if you've been listening to jazz for a while. Let's check it out. How can we take this common jazz lick and make it our own? Let's use a technique called chromatic transposition. Don't let the fancy name fool you. Chromatic transposition is easy. It's simply the process of taking a musical idea and shifting it up or down by a fixed interval, regardless of the underlying scale or key. For our example, let's take a long 2-5-1 lick, and we're going to state the original lick over the 2 chord. Then we're going to chromatically transpose that lick up a minor third over the 5 chord so that we hit some altered extensions. Let's check it out. When we transpose this lick up a minor third, we end up hitting the sharp 9 of a G7 chord and the flat 9. Here's another common jazz lick that comes from the classic jazz standard Donna Lee. This lick is pulled from the melody right before we would go back to the A section. However, instead of an A flat, I brought this lick up into the key of C. How can we take this classic jazz lick and transform it so that it's unrecognizable? Let's try playing this lick in retrograde. Retrograde is the technique of taking a musical idea and reversing the order of the notes so it's played backwards from end to beginning instead of beginning to end. This won't always work well, so it's worth experimenting with. However, it occasionally works really well, like in this example. Let's play this Donna Lee lick in retrograde. So I've taken this lick and I've flipped the order of the notes. And everything still happens to work out. But we can do even more to change this lick up. Let's play it over a long 2-5-1 so we'll have more to work with. We'll play the lick like we just did over the 2 chord, but then we're going to diatonically transpose it up a 5th when we play it over the 5 chord. Diatonic transposition is the process of moving a melodic idea up or down within the framework of a particular key or scale. That means you might have to adjust some of the notes by a half step to make it fit that particular key signature. It's different from diatonic transposition because with diatonic transposition, we're not worried with adjusting to make it fit a particular key or scale. Here, we want it to fit that particular key or scale. So let's check out this lick in retrograde and diatonically transposed. When I bring this lick up a perfect 5th and adjust all of the notes, I go from this to this. We're ready for our next lick. You may have guessed this one was coming, but of course we have to talk about the lick. The lick is a big meme among jazz musicians, and playing it on the gig will definitely get the attention of everybody else on the gig. That attention might not always be positive, but it certainly will turn some heads. So let's check it out. So yes, it's the iconic, jazz lick. I personally love this lick, and I do occasionally play it. However, I know how to disguise it so that listeners may not even recognize it when I do play it. We're going to use 3 techniques to transform this lick. 2 we've already seen, chromatic and diatonic transposition. The 3rd technique is called rhythmic diminution. And again, don't let the fancy name fool you. This technique simply makes a rhythm move faster by shortening its note values. It's like taking a phrase that was originally written in quarter notes and playing it in eighth notes. Let's apply this technique to the lick over a long 2-5-1. At first I played the lick in eighth notes like normal. But as we move through the progression, I changed some of the pitches to better fit a G7 alter chord. And I used rhythmic diminution to shorten the duration of notes in the phrase. And I did this in a stepped fashion. The first time I stated it was in eighth notes. Then I transformed the eighth note triplets into 16th notes. And what that amounted to was an almost unrecognizable version of the classic jazz meme lick, the lick. Our next jazz lick comes from the classic jazz standard Honeysuckle Rose. This is quoted all the time, and I'm sure once I point it out, you'll know that you've heard it before. How can we manipulate this classic lick and make it our own? Let's use 2 new rhythmic techniques to change this lick. And remember, don't worry about the fancy names. The concepts behind these techniques are fairly simple. We're going to talk about rhythmic displacement and rhythmic augmentation. First up, rhythmic displacement. Rhythmic displacement means shifting an idea to start on a different beat or subdivision within a given measure. So we're keeping the idea the same, but we're changing where it takes place in the measure. Rhythmic augmentation means slowing a rhythm down by lengthening its note values. Think of turning eighth notes into quarter notes. And this is the opposite of the technique we talked about in our previous example, rhythmic diminution. Let's check out this lick and both of the techniques we just discussed in context. Here we stated the original lick, which starts on a downbeat over the 2 chord. 1, 2, 3, 4. But then we chromatically transposed it up a 4th, and we used rhythmic augmentation to make the note values last longer. So instead of eighth notes, 1, 2, 3, 4, we ended up playing quarter notes. And we're playing these quarter notes rhythmically displaced on an upbeat. And 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. So we put it all together, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. We're now ready for our next lick. This lick is quoted in melodies and solos alike and is an essential phrase in the jazz idiom. It's also a very short phrase, and that gives us a lot of opportunities to adapt and manipulate it and make it our own. Let's check out the original lick. How can we take this lick and make it our own? Let's try flipping the notes upside down. Stick with me for a second. When you take a melodic idea and flip it upside down so that each interval moves in the opposite direction while maintaining its original size, is called melodic inversion. Again, don't let the fancy name scare you. You're simply taking a phrase and you're playing it upside down in the opposite direction. Let's see it in action and then we'll break it down. Here we stated the original phrase over the 2 chord, but then we took that phrase and we melodically inverted it over the 5 chord. Let's walk through that for a second so we're not confused. Let's break down the intervals in the original phrase. So we go up by a half step, and then we go up a major third, then we go up a minor third, then we go up a major third, and then we go down a whole step. And that gives us the whole phrase. So we just have to go backwards through that process. So I started down here on this E, but to keep us in the same range, and since we're going down, I'm going to start an octave up on this E. So we went up a half step, so we have to go down a half step. Then we went up a major third, so then we have to go down a major third. And we went up a minor third, then we have to go down a minor third. Then we went up a major third, then we have to go down a major third. And then we went down a whole step, so we have to go up a whole step. So what was originally this ends up becoming this. And then we just fit that into a phrase so that it makes sense in context. If you need more help with topics like this and your goal is to get better at jazz, check out the Learn Jazz Standards Inner Circle. When you join the Inner Circle, you'll learn a new jazz standard every month, plus you'll get access to our entire catalog of jazz courses, masterclasses, and backing tracks covering everything you need to know to take your jazz playing to the next level. If you want to improve your playing in 30 days or less, click the link below in the description. And if you found this video helpful, there's another one lined up that you're definitely going to want to check out. As always, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll catch you in the next video. Take care.